Ребят, начинаем. Саш, Анжелика, садимся. Начинаем. Сегодня у нас, я хочу вам представить Александра. Маш, может быть, ты Александра? Ты Александра хорошо знаешь. Может быть, представишь его?
Я думаю, Александр сам в состоянии представить.
Спасибо. I'll take it from here.
Кстати, мы по-русски начинаем.
That's okay. So I was asked to have this conversation in English for part of the audience, and that's okay. It will be a very interactive conversation today. Ask me questions. There will be a Q&A part, and you have a little agenda, so you're welcome to take notes. We'll be playing some interactive games every so often, but on the most part, I wanted to give you, by the way, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, super. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, thank you. I hope you all fared well in yesterday's hurricane, or whatever the hurricane was. You did? That's right, earthquake. So, let me ask you, who was prepared for the hurricane? We knew some stuff, right? They told us, and so we were doing, each one of us was doing individual planning, like buying enough food, maybe water, maybe like looking around what could fly. Yeah, toilet paper, like the proverbial. Yeah. Or wine. It's okay, yeah. So now, who was prepared for the earthquake?
Nobody.
Uh-huh.
No, we didn't.
Oh, but my beloved, right. That's right. That's right. So in any case, we're going to talk today a little bit about finances. Finances, how they show up in our life, how we're either prepared for certain conditions, or maybe we're just not even aware of certain things, right? So how do finances show up for each one of you, right? You don't need to answer it right now, but kind of think of like, what does finance actually, the whole topic, what does it mean? Incidentally, we have some business owners in this audience, right? Who are the business owners? Okay, super. Oh, hello.
One more business owner.
Business owner. You're welcome. There are some seats right here. Please join us. Yep. That's okay. That's okay. My name is Alex Nikolenko, and you are? Robert. Great to meet you. Okay, so the part about planning for business owners hopefully will be addressed on a separate conversation, and that's something that Lena will coordinate. But in any case, today we're going to talk about planning at the personal level, personal family financial questions. Okay, although if you're running your own business, most likely your business is your life. That's where your person shows up every day, runs the business, has the worries, has the concerns, and therefore you live it. I totally get it. Incidentally, I do understand that today you can't hear most likely successful in the field that you running in. Business owners, professionals, right? What keeps you up at night? Are there certain things, certain concerns and thoughts running through your heads in the middle of the night? Anybody? Like what?
What if I run out of money?
Fair. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any concerns?
For business?
Business? If this is what you're running
Safety.
first? Okay, what kind of safety?
What if someone comes and takes my money?
Fair. Okay. Any other examples of concerns and fears?
What if
Fears?
another one started my business and take my money as well?
Fair. Okay, yeah. But fears, they're real fears. So now how do we deal with fears? What? savings. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. If you lose your savings, that's a fear. Yeah, absolutely. I could have monies today and then all of a sudden something happens and boom, my savings are gone. There are plenty of examples in this country and in other countries where we come from that something like that could happen. It's reality. Again, who was planning for the earthquake? Nobody. Nobody, on the most part, because when it happened, it happened. Can you have some kind of risk management mechanism for it? Yes, you do. You do have ability to have earthquake insurance. But on the most part, what if the earthquake yesterday was not 5.1, but 7.1? What is the magnitude, right? The depth of that? We would be sitting in having completely different conversation if that was the case, right? And hurricane, well, lucky for us, it didn't go smacking into Los Angeles proper, like it smacked into, let's say, Mexico, right? Baja Peninsula. And the devastation would have been completely different. So it's great when you're in the right place in the right time, and timing is kind of favorable to us. But what if not? What do you want to have for these contingencies? So that's the kind of things that we're going to talk about today a little bit, just simply because these are real things in our lives. These are real fears, right? I'll add a couple of other examples. Fear of losing your loved one, right? Perfectly normal fear that one day person who's next to you all of a sudden is not there. What if that person is the provider for the family, right? What if somebody, or you including, what if you're not able to go to work because you get sick? Is that a fear?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fear of getting old and one day not being able to take care of yourself. Is that a fear? Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, that's right.
Yeah.
There are certain things that can be insured, and there are certain things that we sort of rely on ourselves and do self-insurance for those.
Mitigate the risks.
Exactly, mitigating the risks. That's the whole point. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's kind of interesting example. So today, because I'm dealing with my parents who are brought from Crimea,
Okay.
and they don't want to be here and everything. So it's very hard for me. So today I actually wrote a letter to myself when I'm 75 years old.
Okay, got it.
So, and I put it in my email, and I wrote it in Russian, and I said, Angelica, do this, don't do this, because I learned from my parents what not to do. That's basically what I learned from my parents all the time.
Fair.
What not to do. And yeah, that's like looking ahead, especially 20 or 30 years ahead, when you're 75, and I have a 75-year-old parent. So I kind of like, wow.
Like a different perspective somewhat,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So what are you planning to do with this?
Letter?
Yeah, many years from now,
Time
right?
capsule.
Just like, yeah, time capsule,
Open when you're 75 and yeah,
So
that's what I'm
you're just gonna face the reality, right? Whatever is gonna
Well, I'm
happen.
teaching myself right now
Got
It's
it.
all about planning.
how to do it's planning.
Planning, exactly. Exactly. And we're going to talk today a little bit about planning, what is planning and what is not exactly planning, just sort of like solving an issue, solving a pressing problem, right? Like buying homeowners insurance. If you own a home, right? What are you doing? Are you doing a lot of planning, or are you just kind of solving a particular problem, a particular need? Well, it's actually a particular need being solved. Neither good nor bad, but you're doing this. However, there is a little bit different way of going about things. And when we're talking about financial planning, we want to do it congruently to the condition where you're at in your life right now. Okay? Because if issue doesn't show up for you just yet, you really don't have need to solve anything. Right? So let's look at a couple of things. So we talked about fears, and I think if I actually take my glasses, I'll be more able to see. That's one of the things when you realize that your arm is no longer long enough. Okay, so what about question like, what is each one, for every one of you, what is your personal history with money?
Love
Great. Yeah. Anybody at some point of time in your lives, were you afraid of dealing with money?
Yes, yes.
It could be something from your past, could be something that you learned from your parents, yeah, possibly from your siblings, or even from your personal bad example, bad experiences in life, that there's something that creates fear, because it's probably fear of what?
Not having enough.
Losing money.
Losing money, right? Not having enough,
Not
kind of like
knowing-
of an unknown,
Not knowing how to handle it.
not knowing how to handle it, right? Not even understanding which way to go with the money, right? So, and again, this is just absolutely normal and something that each one of us has. You know, now, do we stay with the fear, or do we get on top of the fear and do something else? Well, I propose to get actually on top of the fear and learn ways of moving forward. Who wants to join? Carolyn. Okay, great. Yeah, if we can silence our phones would be great. Now, I want to ask you a question. What does financial success mean to you guys?
Enough money.
Financial freedom.
Oh, nice. That's also very good. But having enough money for what, right? Is it money just to solve a particular issue, or to be financially independent?
Don't think about bills. We
Bills,
always think about
well, bills is just part of our life, right? Incidentally, what are bills for each one of you in the audience? What do you call bills?
I like bills.
Like notes, greenbacks. Bills?
I like to send a check. I do like bills.
Okay, okay. So like
I
transactional stuff.
yeah.
Okay, you like that. Okay. What else?
Cost of living.
Right. Why is it important?
Just cost of your life, basically, like to not to worry about it. So it's like how much it costs not to worry about it.
Right, exactly. Because our lifestyle is like whatever it is that we have right now and what we enjoy, right? So if it costs me X amount of dollars per month to enjoy my life and support my family and have a good time, and I'm not talking just about paying the rents and buying food and paying insurance, right? There must be some fun in this.
But you also
Too.
add for inflation too, because the same thing you're doing now.
Exactly,
the next
exactly.
5 years, you're gonna have an inflationary factor that goes in.
That's one of the things that if we were to place in this little graph here, right? If I need X amount of dollars right now per month, right? So let's say we're here, like, let's say somebody is 50 years old, okay? And person needs $5,000 a month to live on comfortably. That's a representation of person's lifestyle, right? That's the bills, that's the fun part. And here we have rent and saving for college, saving for retirement, what have you, right? And how do I cover this $5,000 need? I work. Either I run a business or I work for somebody. And I show up at work, and if I bring home $5,000 to cover this, I'm good.
You know?
Am I not?
No.
Why not?
Well, reality is you're gonna have a portion that needs to be in a savings account. You gotta work that, because that's gonna cover for the year, offset the inflation that's gonna take place, because that $5,000, 5 years, you're gonna end up, it's gonna cost you $7,500, and now you're gonna be short. So now
That
you're
is
talking about a
absolutely
shortfall
correct.
over the next, if you're 50 now, when you wanna retire another 15 years, then you're gonna have, or 17 years, you're gonna have a major shortfall.
That's exactly correct.
So I mean,
That's the
$1 million
danger.
today, extrapolate that out with at least, let's say, the ideal is 2% inflation, right? Ideal is 2%, but we're talking about 4 or 5% inflation rate.
10%.
No, no.
Recently, it was announced to us that it
Yeah,
was 9%.
But it's actually not, if you take into consideration all the other factors. But so you gotta put a factor in. Yeah, that's about, 3.5%.
This is about average
That's, that, yeah. so
history, 100 years in the United
Yes.
States.
I'm gonna say 4%.
Yeah.
You gotta add 4% to that every month, every year.
Correct. So this is our challenge, that this lifestyle, and Robert is absolutely correct. Let's say we'll just take a round number instead of 3.5. Let's say good years that were recently upon us, 3%. Right? Who's familiar with rule of 72?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to enlighten us?
No, I don't wanna like, yeah.
Okay.
I know too well. about it,
Okay,
but that's-
so then let me just translate,
Yeah.
okay, what Robert knows. So rule of 72. This is something that Albert Einstein came up years ago, and it's called compounded interest.
Yeah.
When when money earns interest,
Mhm.
and then my interest with my money earns interest on top of it. So money is compound. Yeah, we get the concept. So according to rule of 72, and again, there are calculators who can computers, they do this fine job and they do pretty much the same thing as we can do in our heads. If we know interest rate at which monies are growing, you can tell when the money will double.
So you got present value, future value.
Kind of, but that's very easy. So if, for example, my money is earning 8%, what I do, I take 72, I take 8 divided into 72, and what I'm gonna get? Yeah. In 9 years, my money as single sum deposited will double. Why is it important? I don't know. Let's take this example. According to rule of 72, if I take 3 divided into 72, in 24 years, my lifestyle will double. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So
100%.
22, 24. So around age 74, 75, I would need $10,000.
No.
Just for the same thing. This is an interruption in timeline.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the challenge. This is the challenge for a lot of us. We live primarily right here in today. We think just, okay, I need to have enough money to bring to the table and provide for myself, for my family, and some good times. But Robert is correct that I'm going to be actually needing to bring much more than $5,000 to be able to afford my lifestyle, because it doesn't end at 74. For majority of us, life expectancy is actually to live into 80s.
I
More
think
to
the expect was 87.
Yeah.
It depends.
87 for men, and I think.
Correct.
women
And if-
are in their-
And if it's relationship and
Yeah.
two spouses,
Very
and if they
good.
make it to the 60s, then they will live into 90s. So again, the challenge is huge for us to actually, despite the fears, despite everything that happens around us, right? And everyday sort of needs and stuff, we want to make sure that we actually have this thing going. So how do we do it? Fearless. How's that for a concept? Okay,
It all depends what you want to invest in. How you want to invest. You can do the Vanguard 500 and get 5% and call it a day. Not have to worry about it. But that's not working your money smartly. I mean, there's different
well,
ways to work your
yeah,
money.
there are different ways of working the money, and S&P 500, by the way, who knows what S&P 500 is? Yeah, what is it?
Vanguard?
It's the index.
Index, right, index of what?
Top five.
In the US, that's right. This is purely what they call equity, meaning that these companies, 500 largest companies of America, these are your Pepsi-Colas and Coca-Colas, and Disney's, and you name it. 500 companies, they change in that index, but depending on how that index grows, our investments inside of different accounts have ability to also, we can measure our investment success against those indices.
You got a new one, and then you got T-bills at 5% today, that's it.
That could be.
T-bill, 3-month T-bill. Keep exchanging those out, and that's highly liquid asset. So you can always keep moving it around, and it doesn't cost you anything. Zero cost.
Well, so is S&P 500 on the most part,
Yeah,
with
but you
minimalist.
can't move it as much. It's not as liquid.
Uh-huh.
T-bills are liquid
Uh-huh.
versus the 500 versus the fund is not liquid, and they're loaded on that side.
Robert, thank you. So let's actually, keeping that in mind, I see that we're starting getting a little bit lost in this techno stuff, financial techno, right? So how about we do a little exercise? I did it with my at the time, 17-year-old son, when he started earning some money, like first money, he found himself a job. He was bringing home paycheck and said, man, this sucks. They just took taxes out of my paycheck. I was like, oh, welcome to the real world, man. So what are you going to do with it? So he figured ways that he's going to support his lifestyle, just to have fun, good time, and enough money to put in the gas and gas in the car. So we did with him after like a few months of him actually earning constant paycheck, and he saw that he was actually able to earn paycheck. I told him, okay, man, so how about we do investment for you? And he goes like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how about you put money away for yourself for the future? And he goes like, okay, so what am I gonna get? I said, okay, let's do this exercise. How old are you? So at the time he was 18 years old. Anybody heard the term Roth IRA? Okay, it's an type of investment where we can put money into something, and then growth of the money will be tax efficient, meaning we don't pay taxes on the growth. And more to it, we don't pay taxes when we start taking money out in the future. So it works for some people, doesn't work for others. But when somebody is young, barely any income, and taxes is not really a big problem for them. But so at age 18, I said to him, all right, if you take $250 every month and you put it away into this Roth, and he said, yeah, what I'm gonna get in return? I said, well, I'm gonna double your money. And his ears went up. Oh, really? I said, sure, I'm gonna put $250 for you too, for your future. And he says, oh, I double my money. You got it. So $500 and times 12. So he put in altogether how much? Right, $6,000. And then we did this exercise, rule of 72. I said, well, suppose your monies are working at 8%. And your money will double in 9 years. You're 18 years old. How much money will you have 9 years from now? He goes like, I'm gonna have $12,000. His math is okay. He gets it. I tell him, okay, how old are you gonna be? So he figured very, very quickly that he's gonna be 27 years old. And he was gonna have how much? $12,000. I said, okay, let's continue this investment world. Let's say your monies are invested and it's earning you, same 8%. And in 9 years, how old are you gonna be? I said, 36. Now, this is on the chunk of cash that is deposited once. Okay, so in 36, it goes with $24,000 in my pocket. And I'm going right on. Let's keep this exercise going. Another 9 years, how old are you gonna be? 45. And you're gonna have how much? Right. $48,000. He goes like, this is cool. I said like, yeah, let's play this out a little bit further. Another 9 years, how old are you gonna be? That way, how much you gonna have? So he figured basically that this is the exercise worth doing. Right? Reason that by the time that he is here, he already has what, 80, 92. Right? On one-time deposit, allowing money to do what money needs to do. Just simply keep working, keep growing. So the kid figured out very quickly, if he does this several years in a row, the effect of it in a long time is going to be long lasting for you. Okay? Anybody has questions on how this thing works?
That's me.
Thank you. I thought so too. Albert Einstein, he knew what he was talking about. Go ahead.
When do you take this money without paying taxes?
We're going to come back to this. A very important question, actually. Tax efficiency and the whole thing is of really of paramount importance in anything that we do. Why? Because this is the country where we live. Uncle Sam is allowing us to do all kinds of things, all kinds of transactions during our lifetime. But one thing that is constant, Uncle Sam wants to have his taxes from us. Anybody surprised? No, that's just part of life. Exactly. So, but coming back to this, I wanted to share this exercise with you simply because for each one of you, regardless of where you are in your life, in kind of like looking at this thing, you can utilize the power of compounding in any program that you have with tax efficiency and everything else. It's just a matter of doing it consistently. That's literally what the trick is. And more to it, it's a matter of developing strategy. It doesn't matter if it's strategy that's aggressive or moderate or conservative, but sticking with the strategy because this is your strategy. History shows that 90% of success of getting to financial freedom is simply being clear on it is what you're doing strategically and staying with the strategy, no matter what happens. 10%, that's luck. Sometimes timing, market timing, and things like that. But for the most part, that's what behind long-term money's growth. Okay? Now, who's bored already and wants to do something else, like drink wine? Yeah? Incidentally, there is some wine, so if anybody wants to help themselves, please do. We have a few more, a little bit more interest to talk about money. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. What's on your mind? What would you like to talk about?
Well, Roth IRA, and I have it, it's the one that you can take later when you're retiring.
Right.
And there are other types of retirement.
Correct. Correct.
later
Yeah.
when you're-
We will come back to the types of retirement accounts shortly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. But what I want to just kind of refocus is the point about comprehensive financial planning approach. Again, it's perfectly fine and absolutely okay to just, as we live and do stuff, to purchase products, participate in 401ks of your employer, set up Roth IRAs, set up educational funding for a child or your grandkids, doesn't matter. Okay, these are just kind of different financial instruments that we could purchase. The trick is to do it congruently with everything else that you do. If you run your business, congruency will be required to do your planning of business growth that benefits your family success, your personal success, right? There are different kinds of programs that Uncle Sam allows people to take advantage of on the tax efficient basis. And examples like Roth IRA or 401k, these are just kind of like different things. But what is in common there? Anybody, any guesses? What unites these 401ks or IRAs?
Well, I was gonna say, if someone's disciplined and they take advantage of this matching, right?
I'm gonna take this down.
Yeah, if matching comes into play, you can extrapolate that same figure. I mean, so much higher at such a faster rate that people won't really understand.
My kid figured it out.
Yeah, no, but imagine if you're working for a company.
Yeah.
And the company has, let's say, a matching, and they match $2,000. So you're getting another $2,000 on top of that by your discipline. If you max out your 401k at that percentage, whatever your percentage, we're comfortable for your family, not leaving them short. But the discipline is that forced savings.
Exactly.
The forced savings with a match, they get every month, they get free money, and people don't understand.
Thank
that.
you. Free money. This is what it's all about.
No, I didn't say
Let's talk
tax free
about
though. I
No,
didn't say
no,
tax.
let's
No,
talk
no,
about free
but
money.
it's free money.
It's free money.
It's
spent
free money to
going into the pot.
yeah, to you, and it comes from your employer.
Right.
Just like here in my example, I was planning to double
Right.
our kids' saving, right? when you're working and your employer is offering you 401k and they're doing matching contribution, oh, by all means, at minimum, you contribute at the level of matching.
Yes.
Whatever the percentage will be, 2%, 6%.
Yeah.
You have,
I
yeah,
have a company, I have 13 employees and
Okay.
we offer matching contribution. So
excellent.
Robert actually mentioned that. So 2,000. If they put 2,000, I put 2,000 on their behalf. to match
Beautiful,
them.
wonderful.
I have one employee who's good.
Out of the 13, only one wants to take advantage of it.
One.
Right. And when why? Why is it only one person?
Well, because they don't understand, I don't think they really understand, and for the amount of, and they have a living standard that they're living too, but they don't understand the forced savings concept.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
they
the
live
whole
in
thing.
today.
Yes,
And usually in Los Angeles or any other big American city, people live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
They just, on the most part, look,
Not every just employee pay big help like you, 2,000. Some offer just you have to pay. That's it.
correct.
Not just employees. So it
Yeah.
depends.
It's okay.
Depends on company. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
No,
because-
but the funny thing is the results are yet the same. I offer it and they still don't take it.
yes.
Yeah, not everybody can afford. Again, they live paycheck to paycheck.
They say no, you have to do this by yourself. Guys, if I as myself, I decide maybe differently.
But that's the part that for us business owners, for as long as we do things that are prescribed by Uncle Sam for us to do, like offer other people, other employees to participate, and they're free to say yes or no, right? And we will be matching contributions to those who participate, then we can maximize our own contributions if we have what safe harbor plan.
that's huge.
That's huge, exactly. So again, in this country, we have plenty of opportunities to do things right for ourselves long term and do it efficiently, tax efficiently, do it congruently with other plans. It's just a matter of simply coordinating this. Coordinating with somebody. Well, incidentally, how do you guys make your financial decisions? Any examples? Good one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some receipt of the payment.
yeah, that could be as
Some
well.
are,
Financial experience.
Okay, good one. Somebody talks to
Simple
friends,
math.
Long-term,
Simple math.
that,
math, yeah, doing like, yeah, do it, like put, sit down on a piece of paper, and do basic calculation, like, yeah, like I showed. Yeah, what else?
Whatever.
long-term planning.
Long-term planning. That's exactly what we can also do.
but you see, the hard part for a lot of people is, you know, when people start looking or listening to the market, you know, that's, then they run scared. And you gotta have enough fortitude to steer the course. If you made a fortified plan, that's a diverse plan, and you steer that course, eventually you will get to your destination.
Thank you, Robert. Exactly. That's a 90% success if you have a strategy for what it is you do. Otherwise, well, guess what? What happens, I'm gonna take this altogether down, but according to media, and again, we have no control over several things. We don't control inflation. Do we control markets, financial markets? No, we don't.
Current events do lately.
Well,
But that's
somebody
another
else, but it's not us, right?
We
All
don't,
we do is just simply, okay, I'm gonna just leave this number over here, but on the most part, there is what they call emotional cycle. Right? And in the investment world. Good news, somebody like, oh, everything is great, let's buy some, cryptocurrency, let's buy, I don't know, economy is great. So might as well, monies are going like crazy. I'm just gonna hit my infinity numbers and I'm just buying into this market that goes up. I'm exuberant, I'm just like, wow. And I buy right here at the peak. And then all of a sudden, the news goes south, actually. And I see that my investment, all of a sudden, is not much fun anymore.
Yeah, like the Bitcoin.
That was one of the examples.
they don't-
Yeah, there were Beanie Babies at some point of time. People were thinking that assembling collection of these little cute, toys, Beanie Babies, they were called, right? Is going to be like a fortune in the making. No. This is going to happen no matter what asset you choose to, like, simply just go with, like, abandon throwing your money into it. And then eventually at the bottom of this experience, what usually happens? Unhappy person says, I'm out,
Big mistake.
not interested, just bail me out, right? And boom, you just jump out and whatever, licking your wounds and saying, no more, I'm gonna buy me Bitcoin, right? No more, I'm gonna go with the stock market because it sucks. No more, I'm gonna buy Beanie Babies or whatever, right? But what will be missing is the opportunity to recover, because markets, in their infinite wisdom, and this cyclical motion goes forever, because that's what markets do. Person will have lost the opportunity to actually recover this. Again, 90% success of long-term program is depending on clear strategy and sticking with. Okay, now how to develop strategies? We can sit down on a piece of paper, just put down a few numbers and say, okay, this is where I'm at right now. $5,000 a month, this is what I need. I'm gonna make projections, boom, 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 run calculators. Plenty of these tools are available online. If you go Fidelity, you go, I don't know, some bank site or you name it. You can put the numbers in and yeah, boom, 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 run. That's assuming that your math skills are kind of challenged, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. What you do want to have, though, is understanding that emotions are going to run your decision making for the rest of your life. Why? Because we're emotional creatures. Our emotions are vested into certain things. We associate our success with emotions, right? Or measure of success, or measure of depravity, if you will. Happiness or unhappiness with something that's happening, it's normal part of our life. That's just what it is. But I would introduce a concept for you that, as far as decision making, that may be something new for you. Maybe you already have a team of financial professionals working on your behalf. Okay? When I say financial professional, who would you want to have on your team? Assume that you're owner of I don't know, big sport team, like who likes soccer? Mavericks. Oh, Mavericks. Let's take, yeah, okay, Mavericks. Basketball. What was the guy's name? Owner? Coben?
No. He's on.
Yeah. But in any case, so let's say you're assembling a team of players, right? What do you want to have? For your basketball team, you want to have different key players playing the game, moving the ball from your side of the court onto another side and scoring. And the more they score, the better your team is performing. Well, guess what? Your financial team should consist of different players. You don't have to be one-man band or one-band team, one-person team playing the financial game. Reason? Life is too short. If you're good at something that makes you money, and the exercise of sitting down and doing on like the spreadsheets and stuff like that is just not in your nature, you will never do it, for one thing. But in the most part, you can delegate this, and you should. Your decision-making actually should come from you being consulted and advised by other players on your team. Who can think of an example of it? Somebody you want to have on your team? Anybody?
Tax advisor.
Bingo. Tax guy. Or tax gal for that matter, right? It could be a CPA, it could be a good bookkeeper, right? It could be like, you name it, but tax guy, this is your like goalie. He keeps all these nasty things called taxes from coming to you, and getting clear advice over here definitely is extremely important.
The financial planner is gonna watch your game. Because if he doesn't, because then he's gonna create a nightmare for your CPA. And
Exactly.
then you're gonna pay more taxes, so you gotta know when's, you gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them.
Right.
So,
And you're talking about investment world, bro, right?
In the investment world, because.
So this is like broker. right?
You need a financial plan and more so to do this.
Plan.
If you're in equities, then you definitely wanna have, you definitely have to have a guy on your side. You need financial plan, and you need to have someone, because you can execute the trades faster than anybody else can do it.
Exactly.
But it's a consultative relationship.
Consultative relationship, and because gains that we have over here and the taxes we potentially pay.
Yeah.
All right, who else do we want to have on our team? Whom? Lawyer. Absolutely. That's also part of the defense. Lawyer? Just about it, yeah. Particularly if you're running your business, you want to have this thing taken care of, because that's defense against all kinds of stuff that comes towards you, towards your business. Bingo, insurance guy. What kind of insurance?
If it's a business and you want the business insurance,
Exactly. And if you're a business owner, then you want to have insurance for not just liabilities, right? You want to have workman's comp. You want to have health insurance. You want to have what else? Probably life insurance if you are in partnership. Yeah, all kinds of insurances that are done by insurance brokers. So these are different. Yeah, well, what does insurance do in your mind?
it's mitigating your loss.
Mitigating risk of some loss, exactly. We talked about in the beginning of the conversation, hurricane, a predictable event. We were in the knowledge that that event was coming. Could it be associated with losses? Very definitely. Property losses, loss of life potentially, right? Luckily for us, it was minimalistic in all of the respects. But earthquake, that was risk that we didn't quite place on the priority list yesterday. We just simply didn't think about it. Okay. So now who else wants to be on this, needs to be on this team? So we have tax guy, broker, planner, lawyer, insurance guy.
Trader who does stock.
That's a broker. Primarily. Yeah, that's a broker.
You would have a banking relationship. If you're running a business,
Banker.
you have to have a banking relationship that can actually work with your business and give you some flow, because the ebb and the flow of the business cycle, you'll need him.
Exactly. You go refinance your home, what's gonna happen? Your banker would be the person to talk to, right? Quite possible you want to have also some kind of real estate guy on your team. Particularly if you have your own home, if you're buying home and things like that. That's essential part.
Yeah, that's me.
We have.
Yeah.
Oh, there, okay, that's a nice introduction, Robert. So thank you. Well, that's your team. Although, to what Robert was saying, I would actually differentiate a little bit. And I will take broker out of, rather planner, out of the relationship with the broker. And designate financial planner actually as a quarterback in this picture. Okay. Reason being, because financial planner has ability to coordinate activities of these different players on the field. And
Actually, with all this and all your dealer, you need to have an estate planner.
correct. Usually it's associated with lawyer.
But estate planning, and more usually for risk, estate planning is basically more for your family, so to speak.
Fair enough, fair
Because
enough, thank you.
That's why I make that differentiation, because a lot of people don't think about that until it's at the last minute. And it's very important to have an estate planner.
Estate, who understands the concept of estate? Okay, this is basically things that we accumulate during our lifetime because we work. What we included in the estate?
I will actually give an example, because Robert just got his friend who was older person,
Mhm.
but he passed away. So, okay, now his family of a friend.
Mhm.
Credit cards, no access to it. Bank accounts, no access to it. Bills, who paid the bills? You know, electricity, gas, telephone,
Yeah.
internet. So all of those little things which were done by the person are not done anymore.
Correct.
So this is a big deal.
Because the person failed to do what?
Estate planning,
Basic estate planning.
what happens after
Correct.
she's gone?
After the person is gone, right?
Yeah.
And there are important tools they have to be created with the help of estate planner and lawyer, the trusts, the
But those-
wills and things.
Those are an integral part of the financial plan. I mean.
That's
so
exactly
it
right.
Really, those dovetail, and it's a hand-in-hand relationship.
Correct.
Because if you're looking at the benefit of the family and the benefit of this, everybody else, you have to have those two working together.
Absolutely. And I would dare to say that financial planner, good financial planner that understands things about banking, brokerage, legal aspects, although they do not provide legal advice like they don't provide tax advice, estate planning, insurance, and real estate in general. Financial planner will be at the center of this team, like a quarterback in the football team.
Yeah.
That actually, not soccer, not European football, not football, but American football, right? The guy who throws the ultimate
Football.
Yeah, football.
American football,
American.
not European football, American football.
Exactly. So that's basically the concept of having team behind your effort of successful movement of your assets in life. So examples of assets. Who can think of different examples? Yeah. Real estate. Yeah.
Business,
Business is an asset, correct?
saving account.
Saving account is an asset.
Yeah.
Right? Art, personal, personal property. Yeah, there are tangible assets, right? And intangible assets. So
Intellectual property.
intellectual property will be one of the examples. Exactly. When your business runs on some concept on a patent, that's example of intellectual property, intangible asset, but it's an asset nonetheless behind the business, right? And my investment portfolio that broker manages, what kind of asset is that?
Stocks and bonds.
Stocks and bonds, right? It can be my IRAs, my 401ks, my other types of investments. So you get the idea that there should be a team and there should be somebody coordinating the efforts, right? How much time do we have? Are we still okay? Because I
It's
promised
okay,
that it
yeah.
would be at some point of time questions and answers session. And if you guys still okay, and if there is interest to learn a little bit about the different types of, I mentioned Roth IRAs, 401ks, and IRAs, right? Who wants to learn just a little bit more on that subject of investments? Yeah, some interest? Okay, super. So I'm going to take this down. So we talked about Uncle Sam pretty much creating rules of the game. Whatever game that this team is going to be playing, we're going to be playing this game according to rules that exist in the United States or in any country of the world where you go, where there is strong enough of a legal system and financial system where rules actually obeyed. There are countries that don't obey any rules, right? Well, forget about those countries. We're not going to look at that. So everything today right now is going to be simply focused on the United States. So things that are tax efficient, and that's to your question about Roth IRA. There are what they call qualified assets, and there are what they call non-qualified assets.
Mhm.
Qualified meaning, how does Uncle Sam look at these monies?
Right.
Because what they want to do, they want to tax the money. Why? Because they can, ultimately. Okay? So individual retirement account, what it's called IRA, gives us ability to put money into this investment. And think of IRA or 401k for that matter as a big roof over our money.
This is simple for a W-2 employee, but there's a lot of people here who are self-employed,
Correct.
and that's a whole different ball, because that you can extrapolate out over time easily. But if self-employed is completely different, so you're gonna be in the other category, I think.
They're still IRA or 401k driven people.
But when you get your money out, like the Roth IRA, which is pre-tax,
It's Roth IRA, correct. We're gonna
so.
Put it right
So
here.
your global income scheme is gotta be extrapolated out for when you're 67, instead of like.
or
now.
later, doesn't matter.
So, well, roughly, you got out at 70, you gotta do your mandatory.
Actually, it's
withdrawals.
73 now. New
That's-
rules
yeah.
say 73. But hold on, let's learn to crawl before we run. Okay, so an IRA gives us ability to deduct a certain amount of dollars from our taxable income. In today's world, it is 6,500 per year. I can place into an IRA, traditional IRA, and deduct this money from my income. Now, if I'm over age 50, I can do what they call catch-up contribution of additional $1,000. Incidentally, at some point of time, about 20 years ago, this amount was how much? $2,000.
Yeah, $2,000, yeah.
That's right. So Uncle Sam figured out back then, 20 years ago, that they will not be able to provide Americans with enough money from Social Security payments. Because Social Security is just very basic and only starting amount. Remember that $5,000 that I need? Right? If I work real hard my life earning $5,000 a year, that's about what, $60,000, so $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year. My Social Security is not going to be that huge. It's going to be about like $17,000, maybe $19,000. I mean, $1,900 per month.
Yeah.
Assuming that I take it at my full retirement age is 67. But let's come back to this. So just like in the exercise that my 18-year-old figured out, right? If I consistently put away money and it's going to grow tax deferred, remember the term? So I'm not going to be paying taxes on the growth. This is the key. This is the great part. Now, because we put in money deducting it from our taxable income, at some point of time in the future, Uncle Sam is going to say, in the future, when you start taking money out of your IRA or 401k, you're going to pay taxes. Now, the good news is that not the entire lump sum. Let's say you accumulate $1 million in your 401k, they're not going to tax you on $1 million. They're going to tax you only the amount of money that you take out in a year when you decide to use the money. Clear as mud, right?
Ordinary income though.
And you're going to be paying ordinary income taxes. That's exactly right, Bob. And why is it important? Well, because ordinary income taxes will be summed up, all your money sources, and then depending on the progressive tax scale that Uncle Sam gives to our CPAs, they're going to say, hey, you owe a bunch of money. And this is exactly why even if you accumulate $1 million in your 401k, you will not take it out and go traveling the world in 1 year. Why not?
You're free like 30% taxes.
More than that, more than
What,
that.
50?
Yeah.
50. Because state of California is also standing there, like
Also,
waiting for
don't
their turn.
retire in California.
Oh, that's
Not retire in the state of California.
that's subject of a different conversation. Nonetheless, so guess what? It still is beneficial for people to use this, including the 401ks. This is how much money a person can actually put maximum into a 401k account right now. And if person is over 50, then there is additional, I think, 7,500.
But don't forget.
So
the
30
the
altogether.
people here who are, a lot of them are self-employed, they got the SEP IRA, which is 25% of your growth. Or 25%
Could
of
be,
your AGI.
yeah. SEP IRA will be under umbrella of IRA, and there are variations. There is SEP IRA, Simplified Employee Pension Plan, for those business owners. That's important to know, but there is also Simple IRA. That's the matching version, kind of like baby 401k. With slightly lesser limits, but also with ability for people to do deferral of their salary instead of taking money upfront from your paycheck. You actually say to your employer, I actually want to put money away into this retirement plan that your company offers. Robert is correct that here for the self-employed part of the crowd, we're going to be dealing either with 25% of net income or 20%. There are different kind of ways of looking at it, but the key here is that the monies that we're going to siphon through this system at some point of time are going to be either pre-tax or after tax. These are examples of pre-tax monies going in.
What about Roth IRA?
That's after tax contribution. And the benefit of Roth is that money that I'm going to put here is going to be after tax, growth, no tax, and then at some point of time in the future, I'm going to take it how?
What's cash?
Tax-free.
Tax-free. That's it. Taxes and whatever is tax efficient, tax-free is like what I'm trying to think biblical terms, like a grail, holy grail.
Yeah.
That's it.
But a lot of people don't understand, they can have, depending on their global financial plan, they can have a combination of a 401k, an IRA, a SEP, and Roth, and a regular IRA.
Thank you.
You can have all of these all together.
Thank you. I did pay him a lot of money, by the
Yeah.
way. Thank
I
you.
think
But that's
Roth-
exactly right.
I think Roth IRA, since you pay taxes now, is good in a year where you're not making a lot of money. So you're
Fair.
in a lower tax bracket.
Correct.
So you pay your taxes and now you basically, it's like a saving account, right? So now it's.
It
not
is a saving
free for
account. It's
the
an
future.
investment account, first and foremost.
Investment.
It is an
And
investment
then
account.
Others are not good when you made a lot of money because now you're a higher tax.
Because you're looking for
bracket.
deductions. Exactly.
No, like the SEP IRA, you can put 25% away. So you want to do a SEP IRA. If you're a business owner, you want to do a SEP IRA because you can put more away than you can put in the 401k, or you can do in your IRA, because look at that, you're gonna be.
There will be a limit though, Robert.
Yeah,
It's a function of what you show as as net.
but it's more than 22,000.
Well, if your income at the end of the year is only $30,000, where do you benefit most? 25% or just?
Well, yeah, it all is
additional?
on an independent business. That's
Exactly.
that's an.
It's
individual
unpredictable
conversation. Yeah.
cash flows of a business, but
What's the interest on Roth?
oh, good question. It depends.
On what?
Where you put.
Think of each one of these programs that are listed here under qualified section as a roof over our money. Okay, that's what creates some kind of tax efficiency, either pre-tax and tax deferred growth, or after tax and the tax-free distribution, while providing tax deferral on the money that we earn. But under the roof, we can put things like money in the bank, right? Like a certificate of deposit in the bank, CD. We can put stocks. Can we put bonds like treasuries? But it doesn't make any sense because they're already tax-free.
Yeah.
So we won't put those, but you can technically. Can you put municipal bonds in it?
No.
It doesn't make sense
I don't
because they're
think
already
so.
tax-free.
Yeah.
So,
Well, actually, it all depends, because it depends on state or federal, whatever.
well,
whatever. bond you
depending
want.
on the state issue,
Yeah.
but there are also mutual funds, what they call it, right? And mutual funds, just different ways of investing the money, but for as long as I have them under this tax umbrella, tax benefit. Okay, there is a reason for me to have these monies growing, because whatever interest that I earn, I'm not going to be pay taxes on it. That's the whole idea. Now, that's not the case when I have just naked investment. Like regular monies that I take to the bank, certificate of deposit that pays me 5%, right? What am I going to receive at the end of the year? 1099. I'm going to receive from the bank, giving me this 5%, some sort of tax form that I'm going to have to pay first report to Uncle Sam and then pay taxes on.
California, and some.
And
non-California,
plus
some
could be California.
but
So, and sooner or later, my investments will be tested for efficiency. Okay? Now, if I'm planning to have my congruent and consistent plan that I develop, in which I'm gonna put ideas for saving for my kids' education. I'm gonna do there some saving for future golden years, right? I'm gonna put some monies into that kitty to, let's say, buy me a second home. Besides watching for the taxes, I'm gonna be also creating for myself somewhat of a portfolio that's gonna go into different buckets. And if I may introduce it to one more concept, I'm going to introduce this concept of buckets. Is that okay? Anybody still awake? Okay, cool. Because yeah, we have some coffee, don't we? No? So when we're talking about different purposes of planning, most important for us is the timeline for which we're preparing to plan. Okay? And I would divide my money into 3 buckets: short term, mid-term, and long term. And these are going to be my buckets. Okay? There will be some time attached to each of these buckets. So short term is anything from 1 to 3 years. That's considered to be short term, short planning horizon. Okay. Now there is also midterm, and it's from 4 to 7 years. And my long term is anything over 7 years. Okay, we're clear on this? Give me please examples. If I'm buying, let's say I plan to buy a home in 5 years, which bucket is it going to go to? Right here. What if I'm just thinking about remodeling my home in 2 years? What if I'm saving for my kid's education and he's going to go to school in 3 years? Yeah, right. And then if I'm planning to save for my retirement, yeah, it's going to go invariably into long-term bucket. Okay. Well, yeah, fair. But then how old you are? How old are you? Okay, great. When are you planning to retire? What is retirement for you?
My retirement?
Yeah, what would retirement mean to you?
Not my retirement now, but, you know, starting that.
Okay, well, what does it mean to you?
Basically, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing the career that I want to be in.
Yeah,
I'm doing exactly what I want to do.
great.
So, you know what, I don't have to do it, but I like to do it. I like what I do.
It's your choice.
Yeah.
So you're talking about really not retirement per se,
Yeah.
right? Sitting with, you know, a bottle of beer in front of TV and, you know,
That's not.
you know, spending time.
But no, I work. I mean, I
Yeah.
like what I do.
So, yeah,
You know, that's
sounds like financial independence,
basically.
freedom,
Well, freedom is very vague. You got to have something to do with your freedom. You can't say
financial freedom,
financial freedom, yeah.
financial
When
freedom,
you're talking about your time and what you do with your time, that's a whole other story.
correct.
So I mean, really what you want to do, you want to be able to do what you want to do, but what is with that is what makes it important.
Correct.
What impact are you gonna make?
Yeah.
That's what I do now with what I do.
Awesome. It makes you money.
Some days it does.
Okay, well, round of applause for Robert.
Some days it does. some days it doesn't. I mean, you would call
But-
it in.
You have choices, right?
Everybody has choices, but the hardest thing is to be disciplined to save. And that's what I try to tell a lot of my clients, a lot of my people, you gotta save.
Right. Speaking of saving, there is something else that's missing in this picture. Anybody could think of what's missing? Bingo.
What?
Emergency reserve. Very nice, smart. How would you define emergencies? Medical bills, right? Emergency of some sort. Yeah, medical emergency. Typically, emergencies that are covered and they have very tight connection with our short-term bucket, they are things that affect our ability to make money. Incidentally, we talked about different assets. What is the largest asset that every one of us has? Good. Health. But it's we as ourselves, right? As economic creatures who are able to do things that we enjoy, that we have fun, right? Hopefully, and we make money. So our ability to earn future income, this is the biggest asset. This is what requires protection. Okay, so literally, for a business owner that runs the business, if business owner is not there, is not showing up, what's going to happen with the business sooner or later? That's right, it's going to flounder. Can you mitigate that? Of course. There are ways of doing it, and we can talk about this planning subject for business owners program, a separate conversation if there's enough interest in the audience. But coming back for this emergency thing. So CPAs, financial planners recommend that emergency reserve has to be from 3 to 6 months.
It's 6 months.
So if I have $5,000 per month, my need, then I want to have in this emergency kitty, right? How much money? Help me?
30.
Right, from $15,000 to $30,000. That is my prerequisite. Before I do anything else,
Now,
I want to have this money in there.
keep in mind that it should be limited to your lifestyle. So in other words, you don't have to cut your lifestyle. You can keep managing your same lifestyle at that same rate for 6 months, 6 months to 6 to 9 months. Is usually within.
It is a function of,
So it's gotta be
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, ability to earn money, it's one of the things, but
Right.
lifestyle, of course. So once we have this thing and then short-term things that are falling here, we're gonna switch a little bit from the purpose, right? Well, let's say we identified here that to do a renovation for my home in 2 years, I'm gonna have to have some money. Do I want that money to be stable or I want it to fluctuate? Right. So if I need it, I want to have it. So I go to the bank and I buy what?
T-bills. 3-month T-bills.
T-bills. Perfectly
T-bills
fine.
are 3 months. It's more liquid. TDs are like a year.
You can have T-bills over here
Yeah.
for the liquidity purposes. You can have short-term CDs. You can have money markets, right? Not long ago, these money markets were barely earning us anything. Right now, at least money market can provide liquidity
Yeah.
and some appreciation. But for my short-term bucket, I want to have predictable in 2 years that I'm going to put in, let's say $100,000 right now for my remodel, and CD is going to pay me what, like 5% per year. I want to be sure that there's like $112,000 in that kitty, simply because that's what the CD promises. Done. No fluctuations whatsoever. On the other hand, if I have something that's going to happen in 4 to 7 years, right? What kind of investments am I going to have in my midterm bucket? Different story. I could have some long-term CDs if I'm really, really conservative and scared. Neither good nor bad, but right now my short-term money are going to be making me more than long-term money.
That would be age dependent. Those last two are age dependent.
Yes and no. Yes, age dependent, but also risk tolerance. That our ability to take financial risk,
Yeah.
it's very individual, and whatever holds true for Robert is different for me. It's
Yeah,
different for anybody in the audience, simply because it's very individual. And we can be conservative, we can be moderate, and we can be aggressive. But remember, the 90% success, just for as long as we know the strategy and we stick with that strategy. we're going to where we need to be in a congruent manner. Okay. So examples of other things I'm going to place over here. Let's say I have a child who is going to go to school in 5 years. Okay, I'm a late starter. Where do I want to have my money? Again, I can go to CDs. Would I want to go to stock market and start throwing darts at .coms or crypto, or is that a good investment for me for my long-term money? Probably not. Reason? Well, I want to have some predictability. Okay, I'm going to introduce a new concept we haven't talked about.
What's on that?
Mutual funds. Yeah, mutual funds simply to give ability for people to invest in big numbers. Is that heard? Heard of CDs? Heard of mutual funds? Just kidding. I'm sorry, it's kind of late already. And thank you for paying attention to this late in the game. But the concept of what they call 529 plans is a section of the code, 529, that is for educational saving, which, similar to Roth IRAs, gives us tax efficiency on the money that goes into this kitty. It's after-tax money that we put in. Health savings accounts, they have similar thing, and health savings accounts can be both short-term and mid-term. But my tax efficiency in the 529 plan would allow me to save for the child, and even if it's 5 years, and I can put away $10,000 per year, it's never late. Particularly if you go to grandma and grandpa and say, remember your grandchild? How about you participate in some savings for the kid? Right? So the monies, for as long as they're used in the future for qualified educational expenses, like room and board, tuition, computers, books, right? Guess what's going to happen? They're going to come out tax-free. Remember, tax-free?
Wait, I don't understand. So, but you already paid money. You already paid taxes on it.
Correct.
But it's gonna grow more.
You put money after tax, just like Roth IRA, right? And Uncle
Oh,
Sam
it's
is going to
investment.
tax it
Oh, it's investment, but you don't pay on growth.
on the
You
growth.
don't pay
Exactly.
On profit.
No, you don't pay on gains either.
If it's put into what kind of educational expenses, what is qualified?
Well, again, examples of qualified educational expenses. It's tuition, room and board, books, computers. It's all written. You can go on Google, section 539. They will list the whole different array of things that go as a qualified educational expense. It has to be education at a qualified institution.
And then the child decides to drop out of college and become a YouTuber.
That's fine.
Good question. Well, guess what? The answer is who controls the money, right? Follow the money. So guess who controls the money of this type of account?
Is it only for higher education or high school, middle school, elementary?
As of late, it's for high school education, can be done for middle school education, for college education, postgraduate as well.
But not elementary school.
I don't
But
remember
that'd be a
about
private,
elementary.
and you'd be a private school at that point.
There are some qualifications. They recently changed it about a year and a half ago. But on the most part, people are using this 529 for longer term, meaning like qualified education of in college or university and stuff like that. But I can get back to you on the elementary. I'm sorry, just don't remember on the top of my head. So anyway, who controls the money in this?
Yeah.
The parent, exactly. So one child says, not interested. You have two kids, but the other one is studious and really going to show examples of being successful educationally. Well, you're going to change the beneficiary to the second child. What if both of them say, you as parents still control the money? You can assign yourself as a beneficiary. You can go to Scotland and learn how to, I don't know, be a sommelier of scotches. for as long as it's a accredited school.
Wow, I like that part. of
That's the
your
thing.
But you can use only for education.
Yes,
Is it?
from qualified educational expenses at the accredited
If
school.
your kids doesn't want, you can.
Mhm.
That's exactly right. Again, who controls the money? I hear that this is resonating in the audience. Great, Max. Great. So let's come back. Last thing, last part of the exercise. Long term. What goes here? What kind of investments am I going to put in here? IRA. Bingo. Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you. Am I going to put my Roth IRA here?
No.
You bet I'm going to put my Roth IRA. Again, tax free. Tax free. Who wants free? I want free. All right. Now, speaking of free, my employer gives me my matching contribution, right? Okay, it's free money, according to Robert.
The matching.
Matching, exactly. Now, I'm going to introduce like a curveball here. Whoever heard of Roth 401k? Aha. But as of late, Uncle Sam said, you know what? Actually, I'm going to allow people to have Roth 401k. So we're going to put this thing over here. Works exactly as Roth IRA, but part of the 401k package, and small employers sometimes have benefit of offering, particularly to young employees, ability to put more money through Roth feature. Again, tax efficiency. This is all about tax efficiency. Okay. Now, what other examples of investments I'm going to put in here? Stocks. You got it. Now, what about bonds? Absolutely.
Long term, yeah.
Bonds, yeah.
Crypto.
Right. Okay. Let's put it this way. For the purpose of disclosure, my licenses do not allow me to make recommendations on crypto. So I'm just gonna pass on that. Beanie Babies, right. I'm not gonna comment on Beanie Babies either because my licenses do not allow me to really talk about that.
Any other assets you can.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, real estate, appreciable asset, real estate. Can I put gold in here?
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, can I put other precious metals?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Palladium.
Anything. Now, what is the main driving force of? Well, let's not count IRAs, but let's go from here. What's great in our code that is benefiting me by doing this long-term bucket with stocks, bonds? Whoa, champagne? Oh, okay. Fiesta is going to start in a second. Wait. So anyhow, but can anybody think of why or what tax benefit will be sitting embedded in these investments? Real estate, gold, bonds, stocks. Any? Okay. There is something that is common to these investments and unites them in the way that they're treated by Uncle Sam from a standpoint of tax. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Long-term capital gains. There are short-term capital gains and long-term capital gains, but short-term they don't work for us because they still throw us back into the ordinary income taxation scheme. But if I'm having portfolio of stocks and I wanted to appreciate because taxation that I'm going to pay there is going to be treated as, or rather appreciation of my stocks. It's going to be driven by capital gain that occurs, just like it will be treated in real estate portfolio, just like it's going to be treated with bonds or gold for that matter, or any other precious metal.
Everything in a long-term bucket needs to go off of with your global income. So now if you're not working anymore, you retire, supposedly you retire, but you got a passive source of income, right? So all this has got to be taken into consideration how you manage and what you put away, because your taxes can be, as you get older, when you get to retire, then your income will effectively come down because now you're on fixed income here. But if you're a business owner and you're making passive income, then you're still on a trajectory up.
Well, that's a hope, that's a
So, yeah,
goal.
but you gotta make sure and that, I mean, that's the importance of having, going back to the team concept and a financial planner, to watch all these metrics as they play into effect, because this is where all these are gonna, you gotta know when to sell, I mean, emotion, another portion, you can't have emotion in any of this. It's all numbers driven. So you gotta watch your numbers and you gotta sell, even if you love this stock's been good for you for 20 years. You gotta know when to sell it. You gotta know when, to put some money off the table. Because you gotta balance this thing. And this is where your two players come into effect in this stage of life here. When you get older, you gotta have this set. You can't start early enough to do this.
Did I mention that I paid Robert a lot of money?
You did.
Thank you, thank you.
No, but this
Yeah.
is so true here, right here in this long-term thing.
That's literally what your financial picture at some point of time is gonna boil down to. These buckets and how you go about managing them. And the strategies that's gonna lace through this, you wanna have it consistent, you wanna have a bunch of team players playing your game for you to benefit in each one of these buckets. And crazy ideas that sometimes people have of introducing an instrument with a long-term directive over here, like stocks, is not gonna work. Just like placing conservative instrument, which is clearly outside of your risk tolerance, into your long-term bucket, just simply because you're gonna time the market while it's kind of miserable and weak, is also, it's doomed to failure, simply because when do you get out of this CD? Unless it's matures. Or when do you sell the bond if it's outside of your risk tolerance? Do you know when? When are you gonna buy in the market? Are you buying at the peak? Or are you buying at the trough?
Actually, those things are maybe a factor, and that's false advertising. Because you can't,
They will.
you're never gonna go this, and no one's gonna pick this. If you need that, then, you know, it doesn't make sense. It's all
It
false
doesn't, and then it's again, the 10% chance of success, that's the effect of successful timing of the market.
Yeah.
Do I know a few? Yeah, I know with 24 years of my experience in this industry, I've seen some really phenomenal successes. Like literally, guy buys, he places money into his retirement plan on March the 2nd. He's over age 60. The company has to hold his money before investing for 30 days. And he buys of 2020, right as COVID was forcing our financial markets into real misery. And then he buys at the bottom in early April. And then from that point on, for next 3 years, stock market just goes. It was, yeah, being at the right place at the right time. He didn't quite double the money, but it was an example of somebody who was willing to take the risk, but he was there at the right time. So are there financial instruments that can combine different features of stocks, bonds, and all mutual funds? Of course there are. I'd be very happy to talk to you individually. Incidentally, I think the promotion of the club is that consultation with me. I would be happy to have 1 hour of time with whoever wants to have consultation with me directly. And that's something that's a benefit to club members. Thank you, Lena. And then last but not least, I want to introduce to you, you have these brochures. I know, hopefully you were taking some notes, but you have my card. Okay, that's my information. My office is in Tarzana, and we are a nice and friendly office. Bunch of happy guys and gals. This is a brochure about my group. I work in a group with 2 more professionals. Combined, we have almost 85 years of experience between us. I'm the youngest in the group. But over here, basically what we do, we provide comprehensive, consistent, and congruent financial planning advice in different areas of planning, whether to individual, families, business owners. PFI advisors, PFI stands for Professional Financial Resources. And we work with business owners and their teams that support them, the lawyers, the estate planners, the accountants, bookkeepers and all. And we do the same thing with families and individuals. So thank you, guys. Now, questions? Life insurance? Oh, we work as an independent brokerage. We have licenses. I work with about 200 different insurance companies for life insurance specifically. 200 different insurance companies. Yeah, it's a lot, but we do the shopping basically. We work with Mass Mutual. Yeah, we work as independent. At some point of time, each one of us, like in my group, we started working for a big insurance company called Equitable. And eventually it became AXA and became Equitable again. We left that world. I left that world in 2011 and never looked back. Being independent is something that I think I can provide a deeper and broader advice to my clients because I'm an independent. I don't owe anything to a big company that controls me. Thank you for the question.
Is it possible to like optimize my earning taxes, my business, something
Yeah,
kind of integrate into other.
your tax guy will help you do that. Now, again, the tax professional is your gatekeeper. Ideas that come from your advisors, the bankers, the brokers, the financial planner, ultimately, they have to make financial sense to you. And if your financial guy says, that doesn't make sense, guess what? You send the whole team back to the drawing board to reward this stuff. It's particularly important for people who run businesses, where the needs are broader, more comprehensive, where the need for proper look into the future, assuming that your business is going to grow,
Yes, well,
is going to affect a lot of things.
my particular solution to that was that I have LLC, which is limited liability corporation, single member, only me.
Mhm.
So it's basically similar to sole proprietor, only it's LLC, right? So me. And in order not to pay double taxes, first company and then my own income, like you probably that's what you're asking. I have registered my LLC as a S corp pass through for tax purposes only. So it's not incorporated. It's not S corp for anything except only for taxes. So I pay taxes once. Okay, so my company, I think, as pass through means that your company passes
Company's
through
income
me,
comes to you.
and then that's when I pay.
Right.
Instead of company pays it when company is closing the books, and then whatever I made, now I pay it, so it's like double. So I'm a single member LLC, but for tax purposes, it's S corp for tax purposes only. And that's how I pay taxes as an S corp instead of LLC.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated, just to kind of follow all those intricacies of tax structures. But ultimately, your CPA or qualified tax preparer will give you good guidance what makes better sense. With recent developments, C corporations that you mentioned, supposed double taxation, the big advantage of 21% taxes that C corps pay, they could be really looked at differently right now than even 5 years ago.
Why?
Well, if you're ultimately making a lot of money, and in the state of California, let's say your combined income is over $400,000, well, you're 50% tax bracket.
Yep.
If your corporation pays 21%, we have really substantial difference and margin. So again, the advice is has to be individualized and structured only for your particular situation. This is why I have an issue with, like Robert mentioned, like all these news channels or magazines, money magazine. Well, guess what they sell?
Your products, not your like there.
They sell themselves. They attract viewers, okay, to watch the channel. To reason? Well, because they want viewership, they want readership, right? Magazines or TV. But can you actually benefit from constantly watching, let's say, money show on, you know, on CBS or CNBC or CNN for that matter? How much information did you get out of any of those things, right? In those shows, did anybody lay out for you this kind of conversation?
No.
No, because that's not the purpose. Okay, so definitely in in our circles, they call those financial, you know, and not financial but informational companies that pretend that they are giving some financial advice. Well, it's financial porno. You have absolutely no use for it.
How many times I did all this, like just losing my money for this kind of consultation.
It's relationship driven. So you, from a financial planner standpoint and the client, I mean, it's not just a one-time meet. It's a continual basis, an ongoing basis. It's work to do.
Absolutely.
It's every quarter you gotta rebalance. Every quarter you gotta look at things. And to be a steward of your savings, it's not just set it and forget it, throw it in Vanguard and forget it 20 years later. To actually work your money and put it in the right way, it's a collaborative effort. And you know, you as an individual tend to be an emotional standpoint. The financial planner has got no emotions. I want to just get, this is my return. I want to get this for return. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to sell for it at, you know, at $21. Okay, I'm going to sell for, well, I had it for 15 years. Well, you had it for 15 years, but we're going to take the money on it. That's the important part. You gotta, it's the relationship building, and it's not, you know, it's the trust and who's going to get you. It's not just a 1 or 2 year relationship. It's a 20-year relationship.
Almost.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into relationship with someone who's already, you know, sitting at the retirement age, because you want to work with someone that's going to see you through the term.
Well, that's in your in the way that you look for the financial planner.
Right.
You want to have financial planner, not just understanding all these mechanics and the methodologies, but also moving with you through your life cycles. Thank you, Robert. Did I say that I paid him a lot of money? Thank you. Anyway, question?
In mind, would you explain the schematic of your company? How do you work with
Excellent question.
clients? So for example, right now we have a meeting,
Yes,
then you offer a free meeting.
free consultation, correct, yes.
But at some point you're making money. So
Yeah.
what are those agreements and on what
Excellent
you make those money on
Yeah.
what parts and how?
Yeah.
How do you call it? How much
For one
you
thing,
get?
it's transparent. Yeah, we have to disclose, we as financial planners, not just me, my group, but anybody. You start working with a financial advisor, they have to explain how they get compensated.
Mhm.
Usually, fee is one of the ways that they charge for the time spent. And usually the fee is in the form of percentage of for assets under management.
Performance-based.
Well, not just performance-based, it's actually assets under management.
Assets.
Let's say
Yeah.
you bring
Yeah.
your $100,000, your blood-earned money. At some point of time, you don't want to invest it anymore on your own because you made a lot of mistakes. Incidentally, because of the movement in and out of the market in the incorrect time, performance of your S&P portfolio, which is on average about 10% over the last almost 100 years, would fall down to less than 2.5%.
Mhm.
Simply because person will be going into the market when it's going high, selling when it's going low, and then buying again when our emotions tell us, oh, everybody's buying, I'm going to buy it too, right? So your financial planner would actually separate emotions and say, well, this is the time for you to actually start disciplining yourself and separating your decision making when it comes to money from your emotions.
Yeah.
And if market is going down, the financial planner is going to say, that's a good time to buy. Increase your contributions. Put more money away. Reason, because you're doing the dollar cost average. But I want to come back to
Angelica.
if there is still some interest in learning how advisors get paid. Sometimes we get paid commissions from managing portfolios of mutual funds, for example, or insurance products. Insurance company or mutual fund company pays commissions. Brokers get paid commissions from selling blocks of stocks and bonds. It's also commissionable transaction. But again, anything that you do, the financial advisor will have to disclose. There are regulations that sit above us that we need to follow, and you're always in the knowledge what happens with your money. You're always free to say, okay, thank you. Not right now. But again, the choice of financial instrument, and you see over here, it has to coincide with the bucket and the purpose assigned to it.
It's a global view.
So let's say I have point A, which I'm now,
That's where you're at.
yeah, that's where I'm at. And I have my goal to be in point B,
Yes.
correct? And
Correct.
you can help me to go from A to B, correct?
Well,
And
that's
all
the whole point behind doing the financial planning side of it, right? Accounting for what we have in point A,
Mhm.
identifying what that point B look like. That's prioritizing, really, right? For some people, priority is to send kids to school and then think about their retirement. For some people say, oh, you know what, 18, figure out on your own, my dear, right? I want to focus on retirement because I already lost a lot of time.
Yeah, but
Is it good, right, and bad on you? No, that's just what's so. It's individual decision. But financial plan can calculate from point A, assuming what you've got, risk tolerance and how to get to point B, and it will lay out in very clear terms. You need to save so much money per month, for example.
But they gotta do that with consult with their accountant.
Yeah,
That's really, that's
absolutely.
really, because you two are gonna be like this.
Of course.
I mean, and that's really. it's gonna-
Gatekeeper.
it-
Remember, our
It's
gatekeeper is
gonna
the
be like
accountant.
a three-legged stool.
Yeah, and it's
the
congruent.
Stool is not gonna stand on two legs.
Absolutely
So it's
not.
gonna be three legs.
Yes.
It's gonna be the principal, financial planner and the
And
accountant.
the accountant, correct. Yeah, yeah.
That's how.
And it has to be congruent. And by the way, it has to be dynamic. You don't want to sign up for a program that at some point of time leaves you no options to move anywhere further, but stick with that program.
Yeah.
It's bad planning. You want to have enough flexibility and different contingencies that, again, we have no idea about. Like earthquake hitting. Okay. So anyway, thank you. Great question. Any more questions, or it's time for champagne, wine and everything else?
Relaxing. And how often, for example, in 1 year, if I am your client? And,
I look forward to that.
yeah, for sure. Just for everyone else. How often you can call me, for example, with your advice?
Excellent question. Yeah. So
How often we
it
how-
super. Thank you much for that. That's actually the most important question, because like Robert mentioned, it's this type of a relationship that you want to have with your money and with a guy or gal who advises you on your money. Wouldn't you agree that? You want to know what's happening. So from our perspective, I communicate with my clients at least quarterly. And even if it's just nothing really, like a phone call or an email, look, everything is all right, we're cool. Or better, we set up a review meeting on the phone, on the Zoom, in person, doesn't matter. But we actually review what's happening, what's working, what's not working. Situations change. We go from one employer to another employer. All of a sudden, you realize, oh, my wife has we just recently found a statement from a 401k employer she left 10 years ago. Why? Well, we've just forgot about it. Could it happen? Oh, absolutely. So yeah, it's extremely important from my perspective as advisor to communicate with my clients, even if it's just sending a happy birthday card. Yeah, expect that to happen as well. It's part of my work. I love my work. I've been doing this for almost 25 years. I intend to do it for another foreseeable future. And yeah, I look forward to providing some advice to you guys if you choose so. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful.